How's it going,
Hey,
everybody? This is Steve from Excelsior Music Reviews, and I've got George G's Room of Rock on me with me right now. We've done two live streams before, and tonight we're going to do kind of something talking about popular bands or really any kind of band really that has a popular album that like everybody likes, and maybe we have one that's like kind of different from the popular one. And sometimes some of these could be some ones I have are definitely ones that are popular with some people, and the other people have other albums that they like more from the band. But so we're going to go back and forth and just kind of see if we've got some. We don't know what bands we've selected here, but so George, like I said, George D's Room of Rock, and George, I'll have you go ahead and kick off your number five.
well, first of all, thanks for having me on here again, Steve. Really enjoyed the last couple of streams we did, so this is really cool to do. Let me just switch myself because I can't see anything with a little tiny screen. Okay, all right. So, like I said, like Steve said, we're going to talk about like popular albums by bands, and that just because it's a popular album, is that your favorite album or is it another album? Because is it, and why is it popular to you? Like, why is that album the popular album not your favorite album, or it could be the other way around? So that's why I went. The first band I'm picking for this is Thin Lizzy.
Okay.
So for the most part, they're known for The Boys Are Back in Town, and that's pretty much a Jailbreak. That's all they ever play on the radio. I don't know what you noticed that. That's like,
Yep.
but like this is the one album that they always sorry for the glare, that they always
Mm-hmm.
pick as their, most people pick as their favorite because it's got both those songs on it.
Yep.
It's got other great songs on it too. Or maybe the favorite album is Live and Dangerous.
Right.
It's another popular one that if you're a Lizzy fan, that's what they like. Because again, it's got all popular songs. People like the live albums. I'm more of a studio guy. I do like live albums. I'd rather listen to the studio versions of most stuff. But like I said, this is a classic album. I love all the songs on it. But for me, my favorite album is Fighting,
Yep.
which I believe is their what the fourth or fifth album. I always forget.
Yeah.
I think it's just the first album because the first album I got. I had a compilation album, and this is the first album I actually bought by them. And if you get compilation song albums, you like, well, that's the song I like. What album is that on? What album did I pick? That's I picked the album. So Fighting My Way Back was the song I really liked a lot, and that was the song. That's where I got the album. I just love every song on this. Rosalie is that Bob Seger song he covers and does such a great job. And the King's Vengeance. I don't know, man. It's just this clicks to me. It's just like this is my favorite album for that reason. It's just and I explain why. It just hits that note inside you that you're like, that's the one I like. That's my go-to album.
Yep.
I would probably Jailbreak, probably my second one, or Johnny the Fox, or even one popular that people like is Thunder and Lightning, because that's like they say his most metal album, you know. But yeah, so that's the difference. Like most people would pick Jailbreak or Live and Dangerous over Fighting. I usually hear people thinking that one is one of their favorite albums, but you never know. But that's why I think it's their popular album. It doesn't mean it's my favorite or anyone else's favorite. People have other ones too, but that seems to be popular consensus is Jailbreak or what do you call it, Live and Dangerous. So what do you think?
Right. Yeah, I think I've heard people say Fighting. I've heard that used before, but usually, Jailbreak tends to be the one that most people usually talk about as far as the favorites from the '70s, and which they didn't really do much in the '80s. How many albums they have in the '80s? Like maybe two, something like Live. Live and Dangerous is it? That's a classic live album.
Yeah,
that's
from 70 whatever it is.
Yeah, 78.
I just want my glasses on when I'm doing this. So there you go. There I can see better. There you go. Yeah, I think Live and Dangerous is from
it's like 78, I think.
Yeah, 78. Ooh, you got it right on the nose.
Yeah. I just heard that album like earlier this year, and yeah, it's a
Really?
real heavy album too. For I think a little bit heavier than some of their some of their studio albums, but
oh yeah, well, a lot of bands do that. Those their live albums are a lot heavier. Like there's like not to go up to the subject of the band, but Foghat, the same kind of thing. Their live album is way heavier than anything on their studio stuff.
Wow.
But anyway, don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think back in the '70s, the bands had to really get together on the road. That's really how they won their fan base. Playing louder, and that's how like Kiss. Kiss Alive. Obviously the first three albums. And then they really picked it up then. But so my first band here, really popular band that I think I doing my ranking earlier this year. I heard all kinds of different albums from this band. But the band is Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Some of the great albums, and I heard I think this one I had like number 6 on my list, but Screaming for Vengeance. Some people I've heard people say this is their number one. Obviously, British Steel is a really popular one. Love that one. Stained Class. I think that was your number one, George. I think.
Yes, because I had that on my list too. Or this one here.
Yeah, when that Unleashed in the East is
That one's another live album. People think that's their best, their favorite one.
yeah, I think
Absolutely,
that.
but yeah, like you're right. This is my favorite one.
Yep. I
It's
think
pretty much almost. It's almost I could almost go with Defenders of the Faith too. I think I like Defenders better than Screaming, but like I said, most people would pick Screaming as that's the album.
yeah, and yeah, I heard a lot. My ranking, I heard Screaming for Vengeance a lot, but and also Killing Machine, Hellbound for Leather, great album.
Yeah,
But for me, my number one was Defenders of the Faith, like you mentioned. I
there you
love
go.
this album, yeah. But then again, I started with like Screaming for Vengeance. I started with the '80s stuff, and then later, and kind of got into the '70s stuff later. But for me, Defenders of the Faith, I think, is just a solid album. Even though I think the last with Heavy Duty, I think in the movie Spinal Tap, this is Spinal Tap. I think they
Yeah,
made fun of that. That was one of the things that
yeah,
they made fun of. Heavy Duty,
yeah.
the song Defenders of the Faith.
I actually like that ending, the Heavy Duty song, and goes into Weird of the Feds. I don't know. I always like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's probably the first studio album I bought was Defenders, because the first
yeah.
album I actually got was Priest Live.
Hmm.
Because I didn't know much about. I'll get this one. It's kind of a greatest hits live. I think it's a good. I think it's an underrated live album too.
I think it is
Priest
too.
Live.
Because a lot of people
It's
hate.
got a terrible cover. Absolutely awful.
Yeah. A lot of people hate Turbo, so that's why they hate that live album. But and then a terrible cover.
I think Turbo gets a little more love now than it used to.
That first that was like the first Judas Priest album I ever bought. Even though I saw on MTV a lot of the videos and stuff. You've got another thing coming. Obviously, I saw that video a lot, and that kind of got me into the band. But as far as the first album I ever bought was Turbo. So
yeah. Oh, really?
It's got that the synth guitar, this kind of sound to it. But
yeah, it took a while to warm up to that album. And I didn't get the Priest till later, but when I got that album, I was like, oh, it's okay. I like Turbo Love. Actually, I had the cassette. I actually gave it to a girlfriend I was dating at the time. I said, "Yeah, you like that song? You can have the tape."
Yeah, I bought it on tape also. That's why I had it on tape originally. 1986. I was 13 years old in 1986. So yeah, it's just a prime time. Just when you start getting your own money and you can start buying your own stuff.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But then I learned later some of the earlier stuff before Turbo, and it was much better than Turbo. But I still like Free Will Burning. I think that's a great song. Great
yeah, absolutely.
Song. So okay, what's your number 4?
Oh, hold on, let me switch the camera. I can see better. There you go. Number 4, it's kind of almost not a like minded band, but kind of in that same vein. I picked UFO.
Okay.
Are you familiar with UFO at all?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
This one is one people always pick as their favorite one. Another live album, James and I, which is a fantastic live album. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
Or they go with the studio album Lights Out, or even Obsession. I didn't pull that one, but my favorite album actually by them is No Heavy Petting.
Oh yeah.
I love Natural Thing. I love the guitar opening of that song. It's got such, I don't know, it's just great. I'd love to, if I knew how to play guitar well, I'd love to play that. But it just gets okay. Can You Roll Me? Reasons Love. Highway Lady is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a Martian Landscape. It's a really odd song, but it's really a fantastic song. I don't know, it's something maybe because this is one of the first ones I bought by the band after buying, I had a couple compilations, and that was one of the first ones I got. But yeah, mostly it's again, it's the live album that really gets people that one you talk about all the time. People, you talk about UFO, it's always that one. No one ever picks UFO 1 or 2 as their favorite albums.
Yeah.
That's they're not picking that, but
yeah. Michael Schenker got into the picture.
Absolutely.
Strangers of the Night, I think, is a great live album. It's probably my second favorite live album. So
it's absolutely, that's the one I just got like maybe a few years ago, and it's like now I know why people like it so much. So it's just it's a great one. I mean, it came out that you've seen a box set of that where every show or something from that first album. I wasn't buying that. That was a little too much for me, but it was good though. So it's a really good one. So yeah.
I think a lot of Americans kind of get into the album because it was recorded in like Chicago and Louisville and the area in the Midwest. I think Kentucky was one of the sites. So because they opened for a lot of bands back then. I think they opened for Rush at one time. I think they toured together. Rush was
Yeah,
obviously getting popular in the '70s too.
absolutely.
Well, speaking of UFO, I mean, I didn't pick UFO, but a band that really loves UFO that whenever you go to their concerts, they always start before they come out on stage. They always play Doctor Doctor from Strangers of the Night, but it's Iron Maiden.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Iron
I knew
Maiden,
you have to pick that too.
yeah, Iron Maiden's a great
I would,
band,
that's
and I think a lot of people. This
yeah,
is Number of the Beast. I think a lot of people pick Number of the Beast, which is I
yeah.
think a great album. With some great songs on it.
That's
Two of the big ones.
that's another one. It's like the one of their popular albums. That's my favorite one too. So,
Oh yeah.
but
Well,
honestly, you could pick any one of these.
yeah.
Anyone who would pick this as their number one, and a lot of people pick this one.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's one of
grown-up
the
people,
another
too.
one that's like really loves that one a lot. But yeah, absolutely.
Well, my number one is actually the one I love the most is Peace of Mind.
That's another. Like I said, you can pick any one of those. I mean, early Maiden catalog, you can go on any of the first 5 albums. Really, that's usually people in their top. But I do hear a lot of people talk about Seventh Son as being their favorite.
Yeah, and that Seventh
which
Son, I say I have a love hate relationship with that album because it's kind of the reason why I stopped liking Iron Maiden at the time. But then
really,
now it's kind of grown on me a lot. But there's so much synthesizer on it. So Bruce Dickinson said they'd never have synthesizer in metal, and now they've kind of influenced so many bands now with that, like Dream Theater. Bands that use keyboards a lot in their sound. It kind of became acceptable because of Iron Maiden. So in some ways it's kind of a good and bad thing. I mean, Ghost use that a lot, and they use a lot of keyboards in their live show too. And it's people just used to it now.
Yeah,
I mean, some
it's
bands
definitely true. They all did that though. They all got that whole keyboard thing, and almost every band in that era did that.
Yeah, Ozzy and Dio did that. I mean, they had some supporting kind of like organ kind of stuff and supporting sounds, but it didn't really dominate the music like with Dream Theater, where they use a lot more synthesizer than other bands.
That's true.
People are just used to it a lot more now, but they weren't back then. Back in the '80s, in 1988.
No, they were like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?"
That was not normal. So
there's no keyboards in metal.
Yeah,
it's sort of bad to work for. Like for Dio, it works for him.
Yeah,
like his kind of music it worked for. Ozzy, he got really soft with that stuff. But that's I didn't.
Well, even some of the early Ozzy stuff, like Diary of the Madman, they use that some keyboards in that too. Which usually the keyboard player, I think, was behind stage. You didn't see the guy, or he was kind of side stage.
You didn't see nothing. Yeah,
you didn't see him.
That's true.
So
yeah, he was kind of hidden. Well, Kiss did that too. They would hide the keyboard player doing a Crazy Nights tour. You didn't even know he was in there.
Yeah.
Well, it's had to come from somewhere. You heard it. Yeah.
So, what's your number 3?
Number 3. Hold on, let me get my thing. There you go. Well, we're just speaking of them, and that's Black Sabbath, but with Ozzy, I'm going to the early era with Ozzy. This is obviously the most popular album.
Right.
It's got all this. They still play War Pigs and Iron Man and Paranoid all the time. Yeah. All the time. It's like a little bit nauseating. But other people would pick this one. Another one. But mine is this one.
Okay.
It's an odd one to pick because most people don't pick this one as their favorite one. But to me, it's kind of just they went to the next level with this one. They wouldn't, maybe they still saw elements of the old stuff, but they're just going a different direction. This one had oh God, I can't remember the name. The guy from Yes doing the keyboards on this one.
Yeah, Rick Wakeman. Rick Wakeman.
That's it. Yeah. I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah.
I get on this stuff, I forget stuff all the freaking time. I feel like an idiot when I get on this. I'm like, I don't remember. Yeah, but he added like the keyboards to stuff. It just added certain dimension because it doesn't sound like old. Like really doesn't sound like old Sabbath. They kind of went more back to it with I think Sabotage, but I thought this one was brilliant. Because I love this opening track and Natural Acrobat. My favorite song probably on here is Killing Yourself to Live and Spiral Architect.
Yep.
Just so unlike Sabbath what they did before, but that's usually the usual consensus. My most popular album is Paranoid or Master Reality. Most people would pick that. And if you're going further into the other catalog, you pick like Heaven and Hell or Mob Rules, for the Dio era. But for the early stuff, I think it's really, it's always been Paranoid or Master Reality be the one. So picking that one's an odd one,
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't think of Rick Wakeman and Black Sabbath as being somebody from Yes and from Black Sabbath combination. But I think I think later on, Rick Wakeman's son, I think worked. I don't know if it was with Black Sabbath or he's worked with maybe Ozzy. I don't know, but he's worked some like metal bands and stuff, and more
Yeah.
recent, you know. But yeah, I think actually I told you at Half Price Books just like a couple months ago, I found Sabbath Below Sabbath there in the like the use. I think it was like $4 for the I think a remastered version of that, and I
Can't beat
thought,
that.
yeah, it's like I got to buy this. Yeah, that's the same day I bought the Ozzy's No Rest for the Wicked. I think it was like $3 in their like clearance area. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
classic albums, and they're in
Yeah,
great,
see,
perfect condition
that's a good
too.
thing about that's a good thing about buying CDs. They're cheap.
Yeah,
If I buy
makes a
freaking
difference.
albums, that forget it. I couldn't do that. My wife always, but you want to get albums? I'm not buying that on record. I said
Okay,
the records are so cool to get and look at, but I'm like, there's a lot of care in that. I don't have the
yep,
patience to be
like
like
$30
cleaning
too.
them and cleaning the needle, and I'm like, no, I got to see it put it's ready. I
Yeah,
missed the big cover, but that's about really it. Otherwise, the music's there, it's fine with me. But
yeah,
anyway, but that's yeah. What's your next one?
I agree. Well, so next one, we were talking about Ozzy just before. A lot of people pick Blizzard of Oz as their favorite Ozzy album,
That's that'd be mine.
one of the favorites. But for me, Diary of the Madman is my favorite album from them.
That'd be either
From
one. It could go flip flop. Yeah,
yeah, it's like 1 and 2, you know. But I've always loved this album more. Just I think the production's better on the Diary of the Madman. I think Randy Rhoads is better on this. I think his guitars are better. I've owned Blizzard of Oz several times. I have it on vinyl too, and so
yeah.
this is the remastered version. I think both these are remastered versions. They're different from
Did you
the old remastered.
did you get the one a couple years ago? The years ago where they redid the bass and the drums.
I did have that, and I got rid of
I
those. But
bought that, and I'm like, "What's wrong with this? This doesn't sound right." I'm like,
yeah,
there's blasphemy. How
I
could you
got
do that?"
I got rid of those two and bought these.
Yeah,
These are
me
back to
too.
the original. These are
Me
remastered
too.
original bass on it. I think Sharon
Yeah,
Osbourne didn't want to pay the bass player Bob
yeah.
Daisley. I think.
We won't go into that. Sure, I might watch this and get mad.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
so yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
right.
this is a Diary of a Madman. I put this #1 on my Aussie ranking. Over the Mountain, Flying High
Yeah.
Again.
Oh,
Some
that's a
great
great
songs
one.
on this. It's a Believer. Some great stuff in it. It Can't Kill Rock and Roll. Yeah, so
Right.
that's why I got Ozzy #3.
Yeah.
What's your #2?
Number two would be, hold on. Couple I could pick here. I'm trying to think of what would be best for this, but yeah, what, I'll go with this. Hold on, because we can do more. I can be more than five if we get to that. We'll go with the band that we kind of like talk about together. Um, I have to pick them all, but not my favorite album, but a great album.
Yeah.
Van Halen.
Yep.
This is the one they ever picks as their number one. You
Hmm.
know, at least most people. I mean, I don't know what's pick this one or this is another. If you're a guitar player, it's
Yep.
fair warning.
Hmm.
For me, it's always been two.
There you go.
You
I was
know,
thinking that one
like
too.
yeah, I got like, but why? I don't know. I mean, even and for some people that don't like rock, this one would be people's favorites.
Yeah.
The same, which is still good. Don't get me wrong, but something about two, I don't know. It's just not that I don't like one. Maybe it's because so many songs off one are overplayed. And they don't really play nothing off two, except for "Beautiful Girls."
Yep.
But some of my favorite songs. I like the cover. Good. The Linda Ronstadt song.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know if she
don't
does it
think.
originally, but it's still a good take on it.
Yeah.
Um, Out of Love Again is probably my favorite song on here. So Light Up the Sky.
Yeah. Light Sky.
Somebody Get Me a Doctor, and Dancing on It. We did play that one. It's the only. I think it's the only Van Halen song without a solo.
Yeah.
There's no guitar solo in that song,
Right.
which is odd for Van Halen.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think
I
because
think.
this one's so popular to people, they
Yeah.
always pick this one as their favorite because it's their first one and it's groundbreaking.
Hmm.
No one sounded like that ever. So it's really innovative for the time because everybody's trying to emulate Eddie after that. He just started the whole new. No one's more important than Eddie since Hendrix. So
Right. Right.
so
Yeah. I was going to do the same thing. Only I didn't. I had it written down. Van Halen 2, because I picked Van Halen 2 as my #1, and Van
yeah.
Halen original debut is #2, and then I realized I didn't put it over here. Right? I didn't have the CDs over here. It was like, so I'm glad you picked that, because I now I don't need to get up and pick it up off the shelf, because but yeah, Van Halen 2 is my favorite. It's a close
Yeah,
second. The debut is a close second. It has so many great stuff on it, but I think as far as there's maybe a few filler tracks on that. I think it's really front loaded, really heavy. Well, the
yeah,
5 or 6 tracks on the debut album is really great, and then it kind of tapers off a little bit, but it's still my
yeah.
number two. But a lot of people told me in the comments when I did my ranking, they said, "How can you not pick the debut as their number one?" And I thought, well, some people,
Well,
not
that's
everybody likes
because
the number
that's
one.
your opinion. That's what you
Yeah,
think it is. It's like it's just because that was the popular one. But why is it a popular review? Because it's not. I can't open my ears like it. What they feel for the album. Excuse me.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
like I said, it's front loaded. If you listen to side A, side B, the first side is one of the best ever. And then it kind of tapers
yeah.
off a little bit, but it's still, I think it's still really great. But so yeah, that's a great pick, and I'm glad you picked that. Like I said, because I didn't pick it up off the shelf, and so now I don't have to. Because
No, you don't have to know. There you go.
we both agree though, so we both said that
Yeah.
Hamilton 2 is our favorite. So
How
um,
about that? What's your next one?
my number two, this is one a lot of people aren't going to talk about this band anymore, but they actually are working on a new album. But the band is Anthrax.
Oh,
A lot
there
of
you go.
people, yeah, a lot of people like spreading the disease, probably their number one, and some people
Yeah.
like the living the most.
That's mine. Among the Living would be my number one.
Long lives, yeah, and that's a great album. That's probably my two and three. My number one though from them because it's the album that's 30 years old now. It's when I was like 20 years old that year, and I like Sound of White Noise. It's probably my favorite from them. Just
That's an album. That's a good one.
yeah, yeah. It's not.
Yeah. No.
It's more. It's not thrash. It's. I think it's a heavy
No,
record, but
definitely not.
it's
But it's
slower.
a really good. John Bush does a good job in that album. I love that album too. It's my favorite one from the John Bush era.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I like some stuff from when John Bush was in the band, but like the second album, I love those first two tracks on the second album, 442 Stomp. Was it Stomp 442?
yeah.
Like that third album, I hated that. I like the song Crush. That one.
Oh, that's it. Crush is probably the only song that's
Yeah, that album.
savable on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
they're
album.
just they tried too much to be in that whole I don't know what era they were trying to do. But yeah, but actually what my second favorite from Anthrax is State of Euphoria,
Yeah, that's
which
a great
maybe
album
like
too.
the band doesn't like it. But I
Yeah,
was it
yeah,
sounds like it's unfinished. I don't think it's unfinished. I think it sounds fine.
yeah.
But
And like
that's me.
that fourth, I actually like that. I think the fourth one with John Bush is kind of underrated, and I can't remember the Kings one. We are all
Oh,
Kings.
we've come for you all.
Yeah, we come for you all. Yeah, but I actually
Yeah.
like that album. But even though there's not like a lot of tracks I like, really remember from that album. But I like
Yeah.
that
It's the
one.
only one I
Probably,
don't have.
yeah. But like
That's
the
what I need to
second
get.
one,
Yeah.
the second one I think is the one that I think that it's got those first two tracks, or it starts off really great and then it kind of tapers off a lot after that. I think there's like one
Yeah.
other song I like from that second album with John Bush. But yeah,
Yeah.
Sound of White Noise is my favorite from
Yeah.
tracks. Number one for me. But
Yeah.
those
Do you
other
have
albums are great.
that Stomp 442? Do you have the extended version where it has like the extra tracks on it?
No,
Mine
no.
has they do Dethroned Emperor, like Cut the Cross,
Okay.
and they do oh, I forgot the other song. I don't have it with me, but it's behind me. They do another one. I think they do another Kiss song. I'm not sure. I forgot. I forgot what it was, but they do
Love
something.
You
They
All I
always do.
Can. Is it Love You All I Can
No, it
or
wasn't that one. It was
the
another one. I can't remember
Cowboy
on the
song?
top of
Okay.
my head. I can't remember on top of my head.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I can't remember.
but that saved the album because they do a nice job on those songs. But they're cover songs. But they do. Anthrax always did good with the cover songs for some reason. You know.
Yeah,
But that's a good pick, though. I like that you picked the Sound of My Noise, and no one really picked that as a number one. But I like that because
yeah.
that's a good album, and
Yeah,
it's
it's a
different. And I'll
different
be like, well, how could you pick that as your number one? Because that's my number one. Like people always tell me, "Con, why did I pick this one?" I'm like, because that's the one I picked. It's my opinion. You're not in my head. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not
I
saying it's not.
respect their opinion and everything, but don't what I do wrong.
Yeah, I'm not saying those other albums are bad. I'm just saying that they're like two or three, and State of Euphoria is probably my fourth favorite from them.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
but the thrash. I don't know. I think they did thrash really well at the time, but they kind of got away from that, and I think now they're working on something else. That I'm not sure what kind of sound it's going to have. Sounds like it
Yeah,
might be a little bit thrashy, but they got away from thrash. So especially in the late '80s,
yeah. Of the big four, they left the thrash thing like
early,
later years than anyone else did. I think the
yeah,
only one I really stayed with it mostly is Megadeth and Slayer.
Slayer, right? Yeah,
You know,
Slayer,
so
yeah, pretty much. Well, Slayer did have two albums that were the Seasons of the Abyss and
Yeah.
the South of Heaven. I think were kind of a little bit less thrash. I
Yes,
think
but
some of the
still,
fans
still
probably
had the
didn't like
thrash
the
elements. Still,
yeah,
still had the faster songs like the
really
War
heavy though,
Ensemble and all that.
really heavy, but
Yeah,
not as fast. But okay,
absolutely.
so what's your number one?
Number one, I could have picked two for number one. If I'm gonna do more, we'll see. I picked and this album's always again one of the most popular albums.
Okay,
It it's always because Bohemian Rhapsody. Is that the reason why it's so popular? Because it got Bohemian Rhapsody on it. I mean, I don't know. It's
yeah,
a great album. It's one of my favorite ones too. But it's also got some good other good songs on it. But that's the one that people remember. That's why they. I think that's why they always put it there number one.
yeah,
Or they could do this one number one because it's
yeah,
got "We Will Rock You" and we're the champions. But my number one has always been the debut,
yeah,
which is an odd one because it doesn't really sound much. It sounds like Queen, but it doesn't sound like anything like Queen did after this. Because Queen 2 is totally different than this. But this has mostly just a collection of songs that are just like really good. Or just it's different from the band. And I heard when they recorded this, the songs were like so old already. But this is the songs they had at the time. Because I mean, that first video I think was for "Keep Yourself Alive" that they ever did. That whatever that were, I don't think they called it videos back then.
yeah.
They called it a
Promos,
promotional
I guess.
film or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
yeah,
But doing
promotion.
all right, Great King Rat Liar is absolutely top notch. Queen and Son and Daughter is almost like a doom metal song.
Oh yeah.
It's so bottom heavy. Do you familiar with that song? You know that song, right?
I've never heard the debut, and I want to get it though. I've
Well, you
heard
gotta listen
heavy.
to it. I
Yeah.
love that. Man, I might be in the minority with that, but
I
I
mean,
I love that. I love that album so much. I don't know why that one hit me like that's my favorite album. I don't know why. Like I said, why do we think of these things? Because it's just what our mind and our ears hear. You know.
yeah, I think Pete Pardo from Sea of Tranquility. I think that might be his favorite album from Queen. Also,
Yeah,
I
it
have
might be.
Sure Heart Attack, and I have that the Night at the Opera, and I have News of the World. I have all those
Yeah.
albums, but I need to get the first two just because
Yeah,
of
Sheer Heart Attack is probably my second favorite. Two took me
yeah.
a long time to get into. Two's a lot
Oh,
different, but two has my favorite song of Queen all time. Of all time is Ogre Battle.
okay.
Have you heard that one?
No,
Oh my
I've never
God, you
heard the
got to
first
hear
two.
Ogre Battle. It's just freaking awesome. At least to me, you might go, well, that sucks, but I don't know what you think. But I like
Yeah,
it. It's good. It's heavy. It's the heaviest song on that album, but it's good.
I heard they were heavier when they first started, and I think Sure Heart Attack's
Yeah,
pretty heavy too. And then they started
absolutely.
to get more concept albums, I guess. New, Night of the
Later
Opera
on,
is more concept, and
yeah,
I had not heard Night of the Opera until earlier this year too. So I bought that album.
yeah,
So because I bought the Martin Popoff his book on Queen, and that's why I learned a
yeah,
lot more about those earlier albums I didn't know about. So I learned a lot about. So
yeah,
that's when I picked up Night at the Opera because of that, and I'd heard of it. Obviously, Bohemian Rhapsody I'd heard a million times, and
yeah.
I always wanted to get that album. I never did. I liked it a lot, but the first album I got to check those out because they're so heavy.
Yeah. So what do you
So
got for your number one?
so my number one here, it's this one's I think probably really popular with this band. I think it's one that most people would consider to be the number one, even though I've heard a lot of people like this other album. But obviously, it's Led Zeppelin 4. Yeah, I can say
Oh,
that's not number one really.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, I picked that up. That too. Yep, I know.
but I've heard so many people say Physical Graffiti is their number one. So it's like one and two.
I
Yeah,
got the old style. The old style.
yeah. This one actually was the old style, but I converted it over to single.
Oh, okay.
But I hate those old the double ones that they had
I got
before.
a bunch of those, so that's all
Yeah,
right.
and actually on eBay you can actually buy just the flipper, and then you can put it in,
Really?
yeah, you can put it inside of like a standard case and have it flip
Gotcha.
over, and it fits the same way. So I recommend that if you want to save some room on your shelf.
Yeah, I can try that.
Yeah, you condense it down to one disc, and you can get quite a bit out of it. But yeah, for me, Zeppelin 4, obviously, you have
Yeah,
only 8 tracks on it. It has some classic stuff on it. Black Dog, Rock and Roll, just songs you've heard, Stairway to Heaven,
yeah,
When the Levee Breaks, just great stuff like that. But yeah, when I did number one, I heard a lot of people tell me that Physical Graffiti was better, which it is. It's two disc, it's easier to get away with, have more songs to
yeah,
talk about. So just I guess by default, this one probably is going to be number one for a lot of people. But for me, the Zeppelin 4 is still my favorite. Now I
yeah.
don't think you
That's
can
your
really go wrong with that one, really. But
no. This is still my number one.
Oh yeah, okay, Zeppelin
too.
too. I heard that too. Some people gave me that one. They said they like that one the most.
Yeah,
So that makes sense too. But yeah, for me, Zeppelin 4 is the one that is the one that I listen to the most and the one I like the most. But I think the songs are probably more overplayed than other
they're
albums.
overplayed.
You know, but yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that like Led Zeppelin 2 their favorite, and I think I had that like I think I had like fourth or fifth I think on mine. But I like
Yeah,
Zeppelin 2 a lot. You know, they
it,
only had
and
technically what 8 albums, basically 8 studio albums.
yeah, it's it could be any one of them, but yeah, that's usually it's like you said, four or physical graffiti. It's the two that the people usually pick. That's my favorite one.
Yeah,
You know, no, most people pick three or one as their favorites, but you never know. You know, I like two because I guess it's first. Again, the first one I got. A whole lot of love, still like one of my favorite songs by them, and it's like probably people like get sick of hearing that, but I never get sick of hearing that. Every time it comes on, I'll turn it up. I don't care.
yeah. The production on that song is amazing, the cymbals and
Absolutely.
everything, and it just the way they were able
Yep.
to make that swirling kind of sound, and that a
Yep.
lot of people had never heard that on production. I think the Beatles are a big reason why a lot of bands in the '70s and late '60s, early '70s were really experimented a lot more in the studio and with those sounds. And this is why
Yes.
classic rock's so
Absolutely.
great. Why
Absolutely.
people love classic rock so much because they've the production on it is unmatched really, and they spent so much time in the studio back then just
Absolutely.
perfecting their sound and playing songs. They didn't have Pro Tools back then, so they had to keep playing the same songs over and over, and they got them perfected.
Yep.
Unlike now where you can just kind of plug in little mistakes, you fix little stuff and
Yeah.
in post.
That's why the old records are better.
Yeah, yeah. The classic
You
rock. The
know.
reason why classic rock is classic rock because
Exactly.
they're kind of timeless music. So
Absolutely.
but as far as honorable mentions, what kind of honorable mentions do you have there?
Well, I'll actually have Ted Nugent.
Yeah,
There's another one popping because Cat Scratch Fever, or Free For All
yep,
album.
yeah.
Another one. But my favorite's always the debut.
Oh yeah,
To me, it's just perfect from top to bottom. With Stranglehold, of course, you hear that all the time. But Stormtrooper is probably my favorite song by him. And just with the Dr. Orr, it's got all the classes. None of the other ones are bad. This one's mostly Meatloaf singing most of the songs.
yeah.
You know, but again, this was popular because of Cat Scratch Fever, and the cover. But again, is it popular because of the Cat Scratch Fever or because it's a good album? I mean, it's kind of the argument there. But what about you? Got any honorable mentions? I got other ones too, but you got anything?
All right, so my number one here. This is a really popular band. It's one that a lot of people would know. I admit, not necessarily hard rock and metal, but I've got the band U2, Joshua
Uh,
Tree. This
That's
is
one of the few ones I have.
yeah, Joshua Tree is a lot of people consider this to be their masterpiece. I think it's a little bit overrated. I think it's good, but obviously it's front loaded. Bullet of the Blue Sky is one of the best songs they've ever done.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's
One
one
of
of
the
their
heaviest
best
songs
songs.
they ever did. And they've got those three first singles that were like mega hits in the '80s. But
Yeah.
then I think it tapers off a little bit after that. I have the album or the DVD Rattle and Hum. It's
Uh,
they play a lot of songs off of this, but for me, I've just never completely gotten into it. There's a lot of stuff I like on Joshua Tree, but when people say it's like one of the best albums ever, I kind of disagree. But the one I like
yeah,
is Octoon Baby. I think this is the follow up, 1992. I like this one
yeah,
more. I like this one more. It has it has a song one on it. Zoo. It's a it's got some the overall sound to it. It's a little bit heavier. It's more '90s, I guess. More compared to Joshua Tree's 1987.
yeah.
Just some great stuff on here. Acrobat, I think it was a great song. Love is Madness. Love is Blindness, and that last track on it. There is so many great stuff on this, and to me, it's just a more solid album from start to finish. And but everybody says Joshua Tree is like the best albums ever, and I just the
It's
songs.
always up there. It's always ranked very high for that
It's
for that
always
band.
on. And I've never completely understood that totally, but I'm sure "In God's Country" is a good song. There's a lot of good stuff on it. Obviously, they're not
Yeah,
like the hit songs and stuff, but it's stuff that they don't play a lot of stuff live anymore either, except for the first three. Maybe they'll do Bullet of the Blue Sky sometimes, but a lot of stuff off of this they don't do live. So it's like
yeah.
No, they play the hits live, but they don't do the a lot of the other deep cuts off of it. But
Yeah.
they do more stuff off of this, I think, still now. So yeah, Octoon Babies is the one I like the most from U2. Yeah, like I said, you said yeah, Joshua Tree. You said
Yeah, Joshua Tree. Actually, I had that live one under Blood Red Sky.
yeah,
That's a really good live one. New Year's Day and all that, and Sunday Bloody Sunday. Great songs on that one, son. I'm like
yeah,
a big U2 fan, but I gotta appreciate the band. They got good stuff. I had the Unforgettable Fire too.
yeah.
So
I don't know if you've seen U2 at that the Sphere now in Vegas.
yeah, I heard about it. I didn't watch it, but yeah, I heard that's really
Yeah,
cool though.
I got to see the Sphere. I think I sent you a picture
Yeah, you did.
the Vegas at the end of August, and
That
they
was
had
cool.
started using the Sphere at that time, but they didn't do all the stuff they're doing now. If you if you look at the Sphere now, they change the image on it every day, and
Yeah,
when Rush when the YouTube played live, the background area looks like they're playing in a desert. They can do this whole
wow,
like a 3D thing in the background that makes it look like they're playing outdoors, whatever, and it's just the screen projection in the back. And
that's crazy.
they spent billions of dollars on the Vegas Sphere
And
too.
they're gonna build more too around the country. I think it
Wow.
just takes off. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
crazy.
spectacle. People were talking about it in Vegas, and like it wasn't open. Like at the end of August, it wasn't open yet. So,
Yeah.
but I got to see it from the outside and stuff, and I got to see, it was like a snow globe at one time at night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the
Didn't
YouTube
know that.
they did a free concert there in Vegas too. In Vegas, they're kind of promoting they were doing a music video, and they were promoting their Sphere dates, whatever they're going to play. I don't know how many dates they're playing there, or if they're done yet, but yeah, they when I saw it like on YouTube several months ago, and they were talking about the Sphere and kind of showing it from the inside. It wasn't open yet, and
Yeah.
none of the lights or anything worked inside. It was just like got to see it in there, but I think it seats like 18,000 or 20,000, something like that, maybe more.
Wow.
It's huge, but I'd love to see
That's,
that someday. But I think the tickets to see U2 were astronomical. Like I would never
oh
pay.
yeah. That's
But
another one. Yeah.
I've actually never seen U2 live, so I would like to see them once. Before
Yeah.
those guys aren't not getting any younger. They're
No, none of these bands are, unfortunately.
yeah,
None of
they're
them. Yeah.
60s now. So but I also
Yeah.
have one more honorable mention.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of like one other band that's kind of rising in their popularity. Unfortunately, they're not really huge in America yet, but they're an American band. And we've talked about this band on the phone not this past week, but it's I got Rival Sons. Their album Feral Roots. I think a lot of people like this album a lot. I think I've heard a lot of people say this is their favorite from the band.
Yeah.
But I like this Great Western Valkyrie. I like this one the most. And I've listened to this several times in the car. And actually,
Yeah.
I just recently got the last. They have 8 studio albums, and they have one EP, and I actually have them all now.
Yeah. I think I can find mine. I think they're right down here. The ones I have.
Yeah,
Uh,
the album Head Down just arrived in the mail.
yeah. This is the first one I got.
Yeah, yeah,
This one, and I have the one you said you like. This one.
yeah, yeah.
That's your favorite one?
Yeah, for the 10 tracks, I think just from start to finish, it just I
Yeah,
connect.
and I got the Feral Roots too. Yeah.
Feral Roots is really good too. I've listened to this like this past Friday. Feral Roots.
Yeah.
I think it's like the first 6 tracks are really solid on this, and it's not as great after that, but the songs are still pretty good on it. But
Yeah, they're a very talented band.
yeah, they're like 11. They have like 11 tracks on this one, and they have 10 tracks on this one. And to me, just out of the 8 studio albums I've heard, this is the one I've listened to the most. So that I keep going back to. I've listened to it probably 7 or 8 times now, and the other albums I've heard at least 3 times each. And Head Down, I like what I heard off of that today too. And Head Down came from eBay, and then the Jeans Webb. I think I told you about Jeans Webb, how they like to. I think they sell like bootlegs. It's from I think it's from Argentina. And
Yeah.
when I put that CD in my car, it's Head Down. All the song titles are right on it. It shows all the 13 tracks on that album. But then it says for the album, it says Great Western Valkyrie, which is what this album is, and it's like that's the only font.
Oh, yeah. Someone screwed that up. Yeah.
Yeah,
It happens.
I told you I bought Ghost. their debut album, and they had like it said like my CD for the artist, and it had the song titles with MP3 at the end, dot
Yeah.
MP3, and that was clearly a
Yeah.
bootleg, even though it sounded good. And this Rival Sons I got, it's called Head Down. I thought that
Yeah.
sounded really good, but to me it's clearly a bootleg. If they don't have the album title correct, it doesn't, instead of Head Down, it says what Great Western Valkyrie, which is this album cover, this album title. But it wasn't that. It wasn't this album. It was Head Down, the album that came out before this. So
Yeah.
to me, that's a sign it's a bootleg, probably. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, the song, as far as the songs, they sound normal. I listened to the whole thing twice in my car already for that album, and that sounded normal. But I think you said you had what, a couple more.
Yeah. But just to get off the subject, you're talking about Ghost, how you got the album. Now it's funny you when you talk about like packaging for stuff. Now I got the first Ghost album and it came in a slipcase, all
Oh, yeah.
nice.
Wow.
And I got the second album and it just came in this little thin little piece of crap.
Right. Right.
It's this is it. I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
The other was all elaborate, and I'm like, this is what they gave me for the second album. Like, that's just to me, that's just crazy. Like, really. But anyway, not to get off subject, but the next one I'll do. The one I'll mention I have is this band, death metal band, obviously.
Yeah.
Chuck Schuldiner, but
Okay.
like very intricate stuff. Like this is like the album most people pick. This one of their first album, but they have a lot of like these albums here, really very intricate. It's very talented. If you're into death metal, this is really like not as crazy as most of the death metal out there. It's really intricate. Very the guitar player on one of them, I forget which one it is yeah, Andy LaRock from King Diamond.
Okay.
Oh yeah, but like I said, this was like one of their popular albums here. But I always pick the second album, which to me is like a hybrid of their really heavy, like really death
Yeah.
metal stuff to like more intricate stuff. So, but yeah, so that was really it. That's all I had.
Yeah, I've heard people talk about Death before. Yeah, I've never heard anything from them. I'm not really into death metal all that much. I like. I don't know if they do clean vocals on that, or is it growling?
No, it's all death metal, but it's nothing like too crazy. Nothing like you can't like decipher really.
Okay.
More like more, you have to listen to it.
Yeah.
But I get that's an acquired taste for most people. So
Yeah, I maybe
Yeah.
check them out on YouTube. I've heard about Death, and a lot of people kind of talked about them a lot, but I've just never heard anything from them at all.
yeah,
I never hear.
that's fine. You can't like everything.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody blare death metal in the car. It's like music in the car. I never hear death metal in the car. Like it's very private.
Yeah.
They said that it's definitely stuff you listen to at home a lot, and
Absolutely.
But I never hear it when I'm driving around. Nobody ever, unless they turn it way down when they get close to the car.
gotta get to the light. Yeah, I started doing that when I got older. I started to get the close to cars like in the summertime when it's warm. I have the windows down, but when I get to enough like in light, I'll like turn the music down. Like before, I wouldn't give a crap. I play it, but now I'm like, no, that's rude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm getting old. I care about what people know.
Perception, yeah. So
Yeah.
I should probably check them out on YouTube and just kind of listen to a little bit and see what I think. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll listen to all those albums and let you know what I think. It's at least a couple tracks. Let you know what I hear about from Death. But that's all we have tonight. I think that was your last one, right, George?
That was it. Yep, I'm good.
So that's
I had a good time. This is a good one. I think we had a nice combo about this stuff, right? Cool stuff. You had a lot of good stuff too.
Yeah, and I want to see how the audio sounds too when I get done, because I was using a microphone earlier and I'm not using a microphone now, so I want to see what the comparison is with the sound.
I don't know if much of a difference though, but it doesn't sound much of a difference to me. But
it seems like
maybe went a little in and out with this one without the microphone, but nothing too horrible at all. Nothing
okay.
But you check it out for yourself. You're the audio expert though.
Yeah, but I wonder. It seems like there's a delay, and I wonder if there's a delay when I'm talking now, because it seems like you can hear me better, and so maybe I can't use them. Maybe it's something with my MacBook that it's not working right. But that's all I have. Like I said, this is George G's Room of Rock. Check him out on YouTube. He's got a great channel. Does a lot of ranking videos, and he does a lot more produces a lot more than I do. Because I have a movie channel that's my primary channel, Excelsior Movie Reviews. But I like to do stuff on my music channel too. I like to keep them separate because you can't do movies and music on the same channel, really, because you'll lose your audience. Because a lot of people.
I understand. Yeah, you don't want which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
music.
need to subscribe to, you need to have subscribe to both those channels.
Yeah,
Both your channels you gotta subscribe to.
yeah.
That's
Check,
it.
check out my channels. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of polarizing. Music and movies. It's like some people love. Some people are kind of open to everything, and some people are
Yeah,
like they don't like all music. They don't like rock and metal, hard
it's
rock and
true.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
that's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Well, I
I've heard
appreciate
you.
you having me on though. I had a
Yeah,
good time. I love
yeah.
doing
Thanks,
this.
George. This is your idea, and I appreciate it. I thought I had a lot of fun with it,
Yeah,
but that's all I have for everybody. Please put a like and please consider subscribing to my channel and have everybody have a great
absolutely.
night. Thank you,
Thumb,
George.
give him a thumbs up. Give him a thumbs up. Two thumbs up,
Thanks,
please.
George. All right, man. Thanks,
All
George.
right.
I appreciate it. So, thank you, man.
We'll talk soon, okay? I'll catch you next time.
Thanks, George.
All right. See you next time, bud.